You don't have it.
That's Travis Kelce reminding folks that he's one of the best tight ends in the game. 3 TDs in a 30-27 division win versus the LA Chargers, capped off with a game-winning TD with 31 seconds left. And Patrick Mahomes is grateful to have Kelce on his team.
We do this a lot. Coach Reed prepares us for these moments. We knew we had a lot of time on the clock. We knew we had some timeouts, so we didn't rush. We just kind of went through what we do every single day at practice and everything like that. And we executed. And I thought, obviously Travis. It's Travis. He's the greatest tight end of all time. He makes plays like that win games.
Why did he put Tad inside?
Because they played dread.
Mahomes still thriving after losing one of his top targets in Tyreek Hill this offseason. Although no longer teammates, Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes have been 2 of the most impressive players this season. Hill leading the league in receptions and receiving yards, while Mahomes leads in passing yards and passing TDs. Dan, has Mahomes or Tyreek been more impressive this season?
Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is having arguably the best game of his career. Right now, Travis Kelce has more touchdowns than games played. More touchdowns than games played. Travis Kelce looks 26 years old. The only tight end to ever do that was Gronk when he scored, I think, 18 touchdowns over the course of a 16-game season. Patrick Mahomes yesterday threw for over 320 yards, and he was down if we went back to last year, he's down as number 1, number 2, number 3 receiver. He was down as starting 2 receivers last night. They put 3 tight ends on the field, and it was like nothing. And Patrick Mahomes is a grim reaper, man. Did anybody have any doubt when Justin Herbert threw that touchdown, this game's over? Patrick's going to go score. What do you want to do? You want to play coverage? He'll run it. You want to play one-on-one? He'll hit Kelce. It's just remarkable what Patrick has done. The ability to transform himself. It reminds me of what Tiger did early on in his career, candidly, when Tiger was blowing everybody's doors off in golf. And he's like, I got to change my swing because I can be better. The Chiefs changed their offense this year. They did. With the personnel and the trade of Tyreek Hill and the ability to be so multiple with their different groupings. Patrick going under center, a little bit more play action pass, the ball distribution. The way that he's playing football, when everyone came into this season questioning, is Patrick going to fall off without Tyreek? This is not shade of Tyreek. Tyreek's incredible. But is Patrick going to fall off? Nope. He's actually gotten better. This offense has gotten better. I don't know how you stop him. Unless they stop themselves and play sloppy football or disc football and get out of control with their play calling, which they're not going to do with Andy. I don't like the way Patrick is playing has to be one of the more incredible quarterbacking performances. Because I can sit here and tell you, outside of Travis, I don't know if he has a legit 1, and I don't know if he has a legit 2. I think Juju's like a really good 3 right now. MVS is a really good 3. He doesn't have a bona fide 1 or 2. Every other star quarterback does at the wide receiver spot.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. Even though I've got Patrick Mahomes as my MVP, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. Here's what I want you to think about. As football players, I want y'all to think about this. What did we think about Tua Tagovailoa before this season?
Here we go.
I thought he was a star.
Well, you were the only one because nobody else did. We looked at Tua Tagovailoa, and we knew that he could ball because we saw what he did at Alabama. But since he's been in the pros, miniature quarterback, had some injuries, had some real huge question marks, dip and dunk, et cetera, et cetera. Tyreek Hill departs from Patrick Mahomes, who's a stud, and nobody's questioning that, but departs from Patrick Mahomes and says, Tua is this special. Tua is this special. And none of us had seen that specialness until Tyreek Hill got into Miami. Okay? In 10 games, he has 5 games of over 140 yards. Okay? He's got 4 games of over 160 yards. Okay? 3 of those games are over 175 yards. The brother is special. And let me tell you something right now. He's made Waddle better. He's made Tua a bona fide big-time threat in the National Football League. And that is what I appeal from it. Patrick Mahomes, again, I'm not questioning his greatness by any stretch of the imagination. But Travis Kelce, my brother from another mother, that brother is something special. Let's say this about Travis Kelce. Without question, he is the best tight end in football. We had George Kittle, Waller, and
Come
these
up
brothers.
and make a little fight for a moment.
There's nothing to talk about. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football. Travis Kelce is a surefire, first ballot, future Hall of Fame. Period. And no matter what you throw out against him, he's always getting open. He's always getting open.
Always.
You got somebody manning up on him. You got him double teamed.
Corner, safety, linebacker, don't matter.
I bring him up because it says a lot when Patrick Mahomes has that weapon to rely upon.
Right.
Sure.
And he ain't a new weapon. He's the same old weapon. And so because of that, that helps offset the loss of the Tyreek Hills and others to some degree. But Tyreek Hill going to Miami and having that profound of an impact to the point where we're able to say that the Miami Dolphins have not lost a game this season, that Tua Tagovailoa has started and finished.
Right.
Well, guess what? We weren't saying that about him last year. We weren't saying that about him the year before. But we're saying that about him right now. Why? We look at Waddle. Waddle always had that speed coming out of Alabama. We ain't talk about him before the way we're talking about him now. Why? Tyreek Hill. Because when you got that brother on the other side of the field, all of a sudden, Waddle, Waddle's a different animal because you can't key on Waddle the way you once did before Tyreek Hill got there. And even with Tua, guess why? Guess what? The last point. Tua don't have to throw deep. He can throw it 5 yards to Tyreek Hill. And I said this to you before. Tyreek Hill catches the ball, and he turns around and squares up against you. He is the only receiver that I've ever seen where a defender literally first has to make sure he's planted and he's standing before this dude.
And when you freeze and try to move, it's too late.
It's too late.
I'm going to get back to that. I want to get back to that point, though.
No problem.
With all due respect to Patrick Mahomes and what he's doing, with all due respect, and God Almighty, it's incredible how he's playing. This is not even close. This is not even close. Stephen A., you're spot on with this. Do you know we're talking about Patrick Mahomes in a system that we've known has been very effective in this NFL for a long time, with a head coach that has been very effective in this NFL for a long time, with the tight end that's been the best in this NFL for a long time. Tyreek Hill went to a whole new situation, a whole new city with a whole new head coach, a first-time head coach, and a guy like Stephen A. so lamented that you guys, nobody believed in. We were talking about, is he the answer? He's changed this whole franchise from the wide receiver position. I remember my rookie year, one of my young years in college, Coach Art Kehoe, he said, Michael, do you know what it's like to have to lead a team from the wide receiver position? I mean, you're really only supposed to get 6-7 touches a game. You know what I mean? So you got to be so above everything. You got to outwork everybody. You got to show up. You got to make every play that you talk about making, because that's how hard it is to lead. And he's doing all of that. You can't tell me. When I interviewed him, this team believes every time they step on the field that they're going to win a football game because of Tyreek Hill. And with all due respect to Patrick Mahomes, with all that they have done, he's been incredible. For Tyreek Hill to go to Miami and do this to Miami right now, make them one of the best teams, it far outweighs what Patrick Mahomes is doing.
Marcus Spears said this on NFL Live like 6 weeks ago. This is the LeBron effect for Patrick. Patrick Mahomes has 3,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 7 picks with 7 games to go.
Yeah.
That's a good season. He's thrown for over 300 yards in
18 touchdowns with 3
He's thrown for over 300 yards in 6 straight games, 400
but
twice.
We knew he can do that. You didn't know Tua could do any of that.
It's just because we know he could do. We didn't know he could do this without Tyreek. We didn't know this. We didn't know that he could do this without one of the top 3, top 5 receivers in the NFL.
Tyreek gave you the explosiveness, but they've always been able to make plays all the way down the field.
What about when Tua wasn't there? How did that play out for Tyreek?
Well, let me tell you what happened. Against Minnesota.
That's a great point.
Against Minnesota. Hold on.
That's a great point.
He had 7 receptions for just 47 yards against the Jets. Against Minnesota in Miami with Teddy Bridgewater as his quarterback, he had 12 receptions for 177 yards.
So you're talking 8 yards of reception.
8 yards? I said 177.
Oh, I thought you said 107.
No, 177.
Whoa, stop that. And I appreciate you letting Molly in on some good points. But now, why are you asking? Well, let us. We can equally judge that when you take Travis Kelce off the field. Let me see what Patrick Mahomes does without Travis Kelce. Don't ask me to drop off Tua. Well, you take Tua off the field. That's their combination, right now. That's their combination. Now you take. Let me see what he does with Travis Kelce.
I'm just saying
off
they
the
didn't
field.
win those games.
If Travis Kelce leaves the field, then I get the exact same thing.
So you want him to play with no one?
No.
Well, the key, what
that's
you're
what
thinking,
Tua did.
but
That's what y'all call
hold on, Mike.
Tua.
Hold on, Mike. You're not
I've been
answering the
on
question.
Tua.
Listen to the thing.
I mean, that's
we're
what
talking about.
Tyreek Hill did.
We understand the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. That's
Right.
not what's being in question here. When we talk about impressive, unfortunately,
The
what you're
deed is
seeing,
being
you're
done.
seeing what you always see.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Right.
You're seeing what you never saw from Tua
But here's
in Miami.
incredible.
But here's my pushback, because I hear people say this, and it's a factual statement. Look at what Stephon Diggs did for Josh Allen. And then look at what A.J. Brown has done for Jalen Hurts. That how much those guys have played or how much their play has been elevated with that addition. The reality is that we had the subtraction of Tyreek. I understand that Travis is a star, but we had the subtraction.
I brought that up too,
But
which is why I'm not taking anything. But that's why I'm not taking anything. But I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes. But I can if I'm answering what's most impressive. What I'm saying to you is I can appreciate Patrick Mahomes reminding us of his greatness while still having Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy. What I'm thinking about is a new coach in Miami, the quarterback that was unproven, and Tyreek Hill comes there talking smack about Tua, mention him in the same breath as Patrick Mahomes, and then goes out on the field and puts on a show.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
I believe we need, but also Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and I know it's hard to hear, hard to even say it, but the reality is he's never lost his number one. Tyreek Hill was his number two. He lost his number
Wide
two.
receiver.
Lost his number two. Lost his number two playmaker. We get pass catcher, receiver. So Tyreek, he never lost that. Now, what Tyreek Hill has done is gone over there and became Tua's number one and has raised that team up. They're the number one team in the AFC right now.
This dude's going to throw for 5,000 yards, 45 touchdowns, have a passer rating of 120. We're going to be like, meh. I mean,
it's incredible.
He's going to have another one of the greatest quarterbacks.
No, it's incredible.
He might
It's incredible.
probably win
It's incredible.
MVP.
It's
but
incredible.
I'm just telling you, I look at it and I'm going like, that's Patrick Mahomes. But I'm looking at Miami. It's like, I didn't see this. Even when Tyreek announced what he was doing in Miami, we didn't see this.
But that's like your viewpoint or vantage point or context of Tua was you thought he was okay or average or unknown maybe. And the vantage, I don't know what you thought.
What I'm saying to you is, did you see Miami having this record, this level of success, this level? Didn't we sit up there and say Buffalo easily AFC East?
You didn't even know what
Not easily.
system.
Yeah.
I literally said Miami's way closer to Buffalo than people think. It's also also Tua's not like the
coming off all of the stuff that went on with the last.
You're going to say the distance between Mahomes
all
and
that stuff that's going on around that organization. He has pulled that organization right up out of all that.
But the thought that all Tua does is like just dump the ball off.
I didn't say that's all he does.
But he's the number one deep passing quarterback in football.
I'm saying that he can do that. It's an option because of how electrifying.
We got to leave it there because today's all about the perfect day by the Cowboys anyway. So this is too much gloating. It's too much gloating about the Miami Dolphins and the Chiefs. It's all about America's team today.
Let's get back to it, Bobby. You know what you're doing.